Hi everybody, Stephanie Haney here with 3 News Now. Welcome back to our afternoon update where we cover the top headlines, trending topics, and everything we're working on for you right now ahead of our 6 p.m. What Matters Most, 7 p.m. Front Row, and 11 p.m. What's Next broadcasts. Today is Monday, November 11th, 2019, and it is Veterans Day. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish a happy Veterans Day to everyone out there who is serving and who has served in our armed forces. We appreciate you fighting for our country very much. And at the beginning of the show, we'll have a guide for you on a couple of the special opportunities you can take advantage of today if you are a veteran or an active duty service member or a family member of those people here in Northeast Ohio. We're also going to take a look at the very exciting news that the Browns won yesterday against the Buffalo Bills by a score of 19-16. I am wearing orange in honor of Victory Monday, the first one that we have had in a while, the first one that we've had after a home game this season. We're going to have our 3 News Sports Analyst Ben Axelrod here on the live stream to talk about a couple things from the game on Sunday and what that means for us heading into the home game on Thursday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, some very cool thing that happened today in Public Square is the holiday tree was delivered today. We live streamed that earlier this morning, and we've got a little bit of the details on what Winterfest will and that will be the centerpiece of Winterfest, which is coming up here at the end of the month. So we've got some information on that. Speaking of winter, we have a wintry blast hitting Northeast Ohio, and meteorologist Jason Frazer will be joining the live stream to let us know what that's looking like, what kind of snow accumulation you can see in your area, and what we need to be watching out for ahead of his live stream, which is coming up right after this. So stick around for that. Something that you might find interesting is that Instagram will also start rolling out private like counts in the U.S. I emailed with a representative from Facebook today who explained to me exactly what that test is going to look like here in the U.S. It's also been tested elsewhere, so we'll check that out. And then we're going to try something new today. In the spirit of Monday motivation, a little segment I like to call We Know You Can, where we can share some positive vibes with each other. All right, let's get right into it. Happy Veterans Day. We have a full guide up on WKYC.com of some special things that you can take advantage of with it being Veterans Day if you are an active duty member of the military or somebody who has served in the military. I'm going to drop that link in the comments for you right now so you can check that out. So some of these discounts include, this one's a pretty good one, Lucky's Market at the shops on Clifton here in Cleveland is giving 20% off for people. They also have a location in Columbus. If you want to check that out, you can get all your grocery shopping 20% off today at Lucky's Market. Now, if you're not in the mood for cooking, you can also get free meals at lots of places all around Northeast Ohio, like Quaker Steak and Lube, Golden Corral, Bob Evans, many more places, again, in the full Veterans Guide on WKYC.com. And if you're looking for something fun to do today, you can get in free down in Canton with a guest if you're an active duty member of the military or a veteran at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. So if you're looking for some fun, I recommend checking that out. All right, now we're going to be talking about how the Browns won. We're going to bring in our sports analyst, Ben Axelrod, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about some of the things we saw and what that means for us when we take on the Steelers at home on Thursday night at 8:20 p.m. at First Energy Stadium. I'm going to tell you, I was watching the game on Sunday. I was there in the stadium. It was pretty cold, and there were some moments where I wanted to cover my eyes, but I'm still pretty happy that we ended up with a win. Thanks for joining us, Ben.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, so I think some of the things that's on everyone's mind is we had Kareem Hunt in the game for the first time. Now he was cut from the Kansas City Chiefs last year after that video came out of him with an altercation with a woman at the 9 here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
We sign him, 8-game suspension. He debuts here on Sunday for us.
He did, and it was one of those things where after 8 games, he hasn't played in basically a full calendar year. After that 8-game suspension to start the year, there were a lot of questions about how the Browns were going to use him, how much they were going to use him. They actually used him a lot. He was in there for roughly half of the plays. He lined up as a fullback. He lined up as a running back. He lined up as a slot wide receiver. He got 11 touches between catches and rushes and had 77 yards. So, he figured pretty prominently into the offense, and I'd expect that to be the case here moving forward.
Do you feel like we got what we needed out of him? Was it worth that 8-game wait? I mean, we did win, and we haven't won in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, a larger moral question about signing a player who was seen on camera kicking a woman. But, as far as from a pure football standpoint, yeah, I mean, he looks like he was one of the best running backs in the league just a year ago. He looks like he hasn't missed a step. You pair him with Nick Chubb in that backfield and an offense with Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry. He's only going to get better. So, yeah, I mean, as far as, you know, from a pure football standpoint, I don't think yesterday could have gone any better.
Speaking of some of the other talent on our team, OBJ got his hands on the ball a lot more. How did that impact the game?
Yeah, he didn't get his hands on the ball a lot more in terms of actual catches, but they looked his way a lot more. He had 5 catches, which is the same number of catches he's had in each of the last 2 weeks, but they targeted him. They looked his way. They threw the ball his way 12 times. That's the most they've done all season, even in games where he's had more catches. And I think that's promising. And that's something that shows you that they are making a concerted effort to get him the ball. You saw in the very first offensive play, the Browns take a shot downfield to try to get him the ball. You saw them at the goal line, even though it didn't work out, throw the ball in his direction. I think with most wide receivers, if you look at those target numbers and how often an offense is looking at a particular player, whether it be rushes or targets for a wide receiver, I think that's a pretty good indication of how they're trying to get that player involved. So talking to Odell after the game, he kind of compared it to baseball where, you know, you hit a long fly ball or you foul one off and, you know, just 1 inch difference can be the difference between that and a home run. And you'd think sooner rather than later that home run's coming.
And we know that you've covered the statistics on you know, exactly how well he did for us yesterday. You just wrote that story. It's on WKYC.com. I dropped that link in the comments for you so you can check that out. So now we're looking ahead at Thursday against the Steelers at home. What do you think are our chances of winning this game?
They're favored. I mean, they're a betting favorite. They're a 2.5-point favorite, according to odds makers, according to Vegas. It's going to be tough, though. The Steelers' defense is really good. They were actually on right after the Browns yesterday, beating the Rams. They're without their starting quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger. He's out for the year. And their backup quarterback, Mason Rudolph, has been shaky, so you wonder about a backup quarterback coming in a rivalry game on the road to a hostile environment here in Cleveland. But Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., Nick Chubb, those guys are going to have their hands full with the Steelers defense. So I'm guessing it's going to be a close game. And this is going to be one the Browns really have to win if they're going to keep these playoff hopes alive.
We just need to win in general all the time. And, you know, you talk about backup quarterbacks. We were against the backup quarterback in Denver, and that didn't really work out that well for us. But I'm optimistic. Thank you, Ben. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. As we look ahead to Thursday's game, something very exciting that happened today in Cleveland, just speaking about the winter holiday season in general, is the holiday tree arrived in Public Square in Cleveland today. And we have some details up about that on WKYC.com right now. I dropped that link for you here in the comments. This was donated by a local family, and now crews will be spending time getting it ready for Winterfest, where the holiday tree will be the centerpiece here. Winterfest is taking place on November 30th. That is a Saturday here in Public Square. There will be a lighting ceremony that day at 6 p.m., followed by a full day of fun with lots of activities for the whole family. That event starts at 1 p.m. and it ends at 7:30 p.m., so well after the tree is lit. And we've got that link for you in the comments, as I just said. All right, speaking of Winterfest and winter weather and the snow, a wintry blast has hit Northeast Ohio. Jason Frazer is here to let us know all about what we're looking forward to.
You know, Stephanie and my friends out there, we have been warning you guys about this for the last 6 days. And you know what? I know everybody is saying, oh my God, why does it have to happen now? And you know, when we look back actually at the climate records, this is right around the time when we get our first significant snowfall. So right around November 10th, that's when we generally will start to see the snowfall start to tick up. So we're
this
right
is
on
to
par.
be expected.
This is to be expected. So I think the good news is long term, and we can start to get into some of the numbers as we go around the region. One of the things I think everybody's going to be happy to see is we will see a warm up towards the weekend. So after we deal with this system, then we're going to get another round of some snow, some lake effect snow. And then after then, Stephanie, things start to improve just a little bit. But you and I both know this is Northeast Ohio, so anything can happen. And that basically means that we could potentially end up seeing snow again sometime in like 2 weeks.
And this is your first winter at least in a while, right?
So this is my first winter in a while. I did used to work down in Columbus, Ohio. So winter weather is not really a new thing for me. I also worked in Boston as well as Hartford, Connecticut, and Rochester, New York. So I am familiar with lake effect snow. However, this is my first time covering it as a meteorologist instead of a reporter. So now I get to combine both of my, I guess you can call it, knowledge of everything. So I'm going to be out there having fun with everybody as well. So are you ready?
I am ready-ish. I've got snow boots.
Okay.
And I know that we posted on the WKYC Instagram, I just dropped that link here in the comments, about some expected inches of snowfall here. I mean, some of these are up close to 10. We're expecting Solon 7.7 inches.
Yeah. So I think here's what's going to happen. I mean, these are up to numbers, right? So these are not going to be exact numbers. You know, and I always like to shy away from saying, hey, your specific town is going to get 7.25 inches, because usually there's somebody out there that'll say, well, actually, we got 8.1. You were off, okay?
Right.
So, but I do want to give folks an estimate. You know, usually what happens is this. Whenever you have a system that comes into play, usually you'll see some snow totals initially, and then with our particular area, one of the things that we always have to watch out for is what happens when the system exits our area. Usually with systems, they move counterclockwise, right? And I like talking about this because whenever you have counterclockwise motion, right, that means you have winds moving from the north to the west. The reason why that's significant is because we got this big thing called Lake Erie, right? And you got a warm body of water that usually ends up meaning lake effect snow. So some of our outlying areas, you know, we're talking about Lake County, Ashtabula County, Geauga County, even on the east side of Cuyahoga County, the snow belt, as we all like to call it. You know, you guys are going to see significantly more snow than folks south, like Dover, New Philadelphia. Okay, so if you're down there, you're probably going to be like, Jason, I only got like 1.5 inches. What are you talking about? Even some places along the lake like Sandusky may only end up seeing about 2 inches. And that's again because of where the system is going to be and the fact that you guys are likely not going to end up seeing some of those lake effect showers.
All right, so I'm looking out the window right now here in downtown Cleveland, and I see rain. When is the snow going to start? When are we going to expect this to turn into snow?
So some outlying areas like Sandusky have already started to see the changeover from rain to snow. I think in the next 2 hours, that is when we are going to slowly start to see some of the changeover. There are even some parts of Cuyahoga County, I just checked on the maps, that are starting to see some of that changeover as well. So if you're not seeing it, my friends, it's going to be happening very soon, very quickly. Big concern that I have, Stephanie, is usually whenever you have these changeovers, that usually ends up meaning the roads are slick, sidewalks are slick, and also whenever you have rain and then you have snow on top of it, sometimes what ends up happening is some of that snow becomes pretty heavy. So I'm expecting to see some power outages. We're not going to really see a lot of wind with this event. I mean, anywhere from about 15 to maybe 30 miles per hour as far as sustained winds. But you and I both know that, you know, if you put something on a rubber band, right, and you're moving it back and forward, you have the potential that at some point the rubber band can break. So that's what I'm concerned about as far as power outages. So just make sure that you have your phone handy. You know, make sure that you definitely download the 3 News app. Make sure that you have it charged. Also make sure that you have some gasoline in your car just in case you need to get out there. But this is our first big snow event. We don't believe in hyping things up here at 3 News. So, you know, this is not going to be one of those things where I think it's going to paralyze the city, right? Knock on wood,
yes.
Right? But at the same time, you know, it is going to be one of those events where I think particularly east of downtown, that's where you're going to see some of the bigger snowfalls. Depending on the models that you believe, you know, we've been seeing 1 or 2 models that have even been saying upwards of 12 inches after both this system as well as the lake effect snow system moves eastward. So we'll see.
Okay, well, those are really great tips, Jason. Thank you for sharing those tips on getting prepared for this, because there is snow coming. Winter is coming, my friends.
Winter is coming.
It may already be here, not on the calendar.
Technically, it hasn't even begun yet.
Right,
It's
not
still
on
another
the
couple of
calendar.
weeks, technically.
And Jason will be back here after we're done with this live stream here with a more in-depth forecast for you as well.
Yes. All right, so leave me your questions and we'll try to answer them during our Facebook Live. Have a good one, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Jason. We appreciate it. Now, we had mentioned that we posted on our Instagram account some of those estimated snowfall totals, so you can check that out. But if you are an Instagram user, you may be particularly interested in this story, which I'm dropping the link for you in the comments right now. Instagram will start hiding like counts in the U.S. this week. So if you see a post without any likes, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not getting love, because Instagram is testing out this feature. It's already been tested in Australia, Brazil, Canada, Ireland, Italy, Japan, and New Zealand. Instagram CEO Adam Mosseri calls it private like accounts, and users who post content will be able to see how many likes they get, but no one else will see the like count. Now, I wasn't entirely clear on exactly how this test was going to work, so I reached out to Instagram, and a Facebook company spokesperson got back to me and told me today that if you are in the test, you will not be able to see like counts on other users' accounts. You'll be able to see the likes on your own photos, and whether others can see the likes on your post depends on whether they are in the test. So that's how they are running the test. They're going to take a user account, and you as a user, if you're a part of that test, will not be able to see other people's like counts. The CEO said that this is very focused on younger people, and he said the idea is about trying to depressurize Instagram, make it less of a competition, give people more space to focus on connecting with people that they love and things that inspire them. He says that they're trying to reduce anxiety and reduce social comparisons, and that these are issues that are becoming more acute, particularly with young people, particularly in a mobile-first world. Now, in my email to Instagram's press department, I did ask them if they could tell me how the platform will decide which accounts to test this with, but the spokesperson did not respond to that question, so I know that that is definitely an issue of concern, with Twitter recently deciding not to include political ads, and people just very concerned about how content reaches us. So we didn't get an answer to that question, unfortunately. If I do get a more specific answer on that, I will definitely be sharing that with all of you. All right, before we go here, I want to share with you something that we're trying out. This is called We Know You Can, and the idea around this segment is inspired by #MondayMotivation, where we can all sort of just use a little extra cheer for some of these things that we're going through on a daily basis. So I asked people to share with me some things that they could use a little extra motivation for, or maybe some things that they want to give a shout out to, give somebody props or send motivation somebody else's way that might be going through something, potentially difficult or at least tough or out of the norm, or, just some positive vibes. So we got a couple responses on my Instagram story today. User D Tardivo has a week-long training course this week, and he feels like it's going to be tough to stay awake, so we want to send him some good energy. Literally, we want to send him some energy. Fitness was a very big theme in the responses. User Startup Rich and BK73103 both want some Fitspo. So we need to send them some fitness inspiration so they can get to the gym, get it in. I will take some of that too, please. Feel free to send me some Fitspo. And I am also with user Spence Dolly. He wants help getting motivated to get up on that first alarm. I will tell you, I am a snoozer. I will snooze that thing 3 times. I will set a new alarm, and I will snooze it again. So I'm with you. I totally hear you on that. We could all use some motivation in that category. And then finally, Param_1264. That user is some type of teacher, and he wants to shout out his senior students who are all working very hard. So let's send some positive vibes that way for those students who are doing such a great job. I would love to keep this conversation going with you. If you have thoughts or comments about any of the stories that we've talked about today, in addition to dropping them here in the comments, you can tweet me or DM me directly at _Stephanie Haney. Something we talked about today, a story idea, or even if you just want to say hello. Really appreciate you being a part of 3 News Now today. Thank you for being a part of the comments here in our Facebook live stream. Make sure you like our page so that you can be a part of this every afternoon. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel for WKYC Channel 3, and make sure you like the video, click the little bell so you get a notification every single time we go live, and we will see you next time. I'm Stephanie Haney.